Hi learners! Welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to be reading an engagement text and then our decodable book, Pat's Mess.
Materials!
For today's lesson, you just need to have your thinking caps. Here we go! We have 4 learning targets today. I can retell the events from the story, Pat's Mess. Using evidence from the text, I can answer questions about the story, Pat's Mess. I can read high-frequency words and words that don't play fair. And finally, I can read the decodable text, Pat's Mess.
Song.
Gather round together, together, together. Gather round together, together right now. It's time to hear a story, a story, a story. It's time to hear a story and say what we've learned.
Read aloud.
Listen as I read aloud our story, Pat's Mess. In this story, you will hear some of the words we talked about in our last lesson. After we read, we will answer some questions about the story. Here we go. Patricia is my baby sister. We call her Pat for short because Patricia is too hard for her to say. My grandma says Pat is like a tornado because she leaves a mess wherever she goes. Yesterday, while Grandma was making lunch in the kitchen, she let Pat play with some of the cooking tools. Pat loved the long spoons and spatulas. Then she found Grandma's colorful mixing bowls and shiny pots and pans. She put a pot on her head like a hat. Then she put a smaller pan on her stuffed animal, Kitty the cat. Pat and Kitty both had hats. She turned some of the pans upside down and tapped them like drums. Then Pat put Kitty in a big mixing bowl. She stirred the cat around with a mixing spoon. While she was on the floor, Pat found an ant. She picked it up and let it climb all over her fingers. She giggled because the ant's legs tickled her skin. I helped her put the ant outside. By the time our lunch was ready, the kitchen was a disaster. Oh, Pat, my dear, you really are Grandma's little tornado, aren't you? Grandma said. She kissed Pat's head. She told Pat that she needed to clean up her mess. I helped her. After playing in the kitchen and eating lunch, Pat was ready for a nap. She fell asleep holding Kitty the cat in one hand and a spatula in the other.
Question and answer.
Let's talk about what happened in the story. What were some of the things Pat did while Grandma made lunch in the kitchen? That's right. She was playing with the pots and pans, using them as drums, and letting an ant play on her hand. Why did Grandma say that Pat was like a tornado? Well, Grandma said that Pat was like a tornado because she makes a mess wherever she goes.
Word work.
Let's decode this first word together. Can. I'm going to use this word in a sentence. I can see a bird in the sky. Can is a high-frequency word. High-frequency words are those words that we see a lot when we are writing and when we are reading. Sometimes high-frequency words play fair. That means that we can sound out the words or tap out the sounds, and they make sense. So the word can, can, is an example of a high-frequency word that plays fair. Let's look at the next high-frequency word, the. I'm going to use the word the in a sentence. The girl is a fast runner. Can you think of a sentence that uses the word the? Great job! The TH at the beginning of the word the says th. So we can decode the first part of the word. The last letter of the word the is an E. But I hear the sound when I say the word the. That means that this part of the word does not play fair. Here are two other words that play fair. A and this. Let's go ahead and sound out the word this. This. We also have two words that don't play fair. The first word is. If we listen carefully, the S in the word is says z. With the word has, we also have an S that makes the z sound. So the sight words or the high frequency words is and has do not play fair.
Read aloud.
This book is based on the story we heard earlier, Pat's Mess. But this time, the book is filled with words that you can read. There are decodable words, and there are also some high-frequency words. Some play fair, and some don't play fair. The high-frequency words that you'll hear are a, this, can, an, is, has, and this. Let's get started. This is Pat. The pan is a hat. The hat is on the cat. Two hats. Pat can tap. Pat has an aunt. Pat naps. We are going to go ahead and read the story one more time. And this time we are going to go on a hunt for high frequency words. Whenever you hear one, go ahead and touch your nose. As a reminder, the high frequency words we're listening for are a, this, can, an, is, has, and this. Here we go. This is Pat. What are the high frequency words? That's right. This and is. The pan is a hat. What high frequency words do you see? Did you find the, is, and a? Great work! The hat is on the cat. Two hats. What high frequency words do you see? I see the, is, and the. Pat can tap. Can you spot the high frequency word here? That's right, it's can. Pat has an aunt. What high frequency words do you see on this page? That's right, has and an. And finally, Pat naps. There are no high frequency words on this page. I couldn't trick you. Great reading, friends.
Closing reflection.
Let's reflect on our learning today. What did you do to become a more proficient reader? Great job reading and answering questions about the text and finding those high frequency words. I hope you'll join me again for some more reading in our next lesson. See you then!